Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Pence is set to turn and betray Donald Trump yet again, calling him an apologist for Vladimir Putin. So we'll get to that in about 1 hour. Be here at 6:15 p.m. Pacific time. I also want to talk about something very important, something extremely crucial and possibly devastating to the global economy, especially food security, which is a huge issue around the world. Go look at commodity prices now. Oil is almost at $120 per barrel. Brent crude is $118. But go look at commodity prices. Wheat up $28 today. 75% up year over year. All of these commodity prices have been soaring, ladies and gentlemen. You look, and food is at approaching all these different commodities, whether it's wheat or milk or orange juice, coffee, sugar. They're all at year over year above 47%. Lumber, 67% higher year over year. Ladies and gentlemen, Russia plans to ban fertilizer exports. This is really bad. Really bad. It's horrible because I'll read you this. This article is from the, Progressive Farmer, and this is a trade publication. Russia is the second larger producer of ammonia, urea, and potash, and the fifth larger producer of processed phosphates. The country accounts for 23% of global ammonia exports, 14% of urea, 21% for potash, and 10% for processed phosphates. Quote, because of Russia's large fertilizer production and its role as a global fertilizer supplier, the removal of Russian production from the global marketplace will have an impact on supply. Despite the benefits afforded by a robust U.S.-based fertilizer industry, prices for our products are driven by global supply and demand factors. So very much like oil and gas, you're still going to be beholden to the commodity price that is set by global demand. So food is going to go up exponentially, or I should say probably 30-40% higher in cost the longer Russia has that ban on exports. So we import something like 8% of fertilizer from Russia, something like that. And again, it's like 7 to 8% of oil that we get, crude oil from Russia. The Congress wants to ban that, and that makes sense, but you're not being an apologist for Putin or for Russia, pointing out that they can also fight back. And every sanction that we level against them not only hurts us, but they can also impose retaliatory economic repercussions. And you get Russia calls on domestic fertilizer producers to halt export. This is just a couple of hours ago. This is really bad, and we'll talk about that. That's Bloomberg. We'll talk about that at about 6:15, so be here at 6:50, about an hour from now. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Look, the stock market crash that I have predicted, is already taking place in slow motion. I told you I didn't know what the catalyst could be. It could be derivatives, a derivatives nightmare from hedge funds. It could have been a geopolitical crisis, which we're seeing now. I didn't know what the catalyst. I said, though, the entire stock market is going to tank. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading, and hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I will have a live stream on Pence and Trump in about an hour, 6:15 p.m. Be here. My God, ladies and gentlemen, our economy is not only heading into a recession, It was heading into a recession with 0% GDP growth before all of these economic sanctions and retaliatory sanctions and bans. They went after Trump for measured, extreme, but in the context, reasonable tariffs against China, meant as a short-term tactic to ensure that we could work on the trade deficit and they could buy more from us, okay? And they wouldn't steal intellectual property or dump steel, influencing the price of metals. So that was a specific short-term tactic. It wasn't a long-term policy. This is now back and forth. There's this hysteria and frenzy to see who can be tougher against Russia. And at the end of the day, this is going to absolutely tank the global economy. 2 years ago, we deliberately ended economic activity because the morally superior liberals among us, the same people who said that the Kremlin installed Trump, those people who are completely out of it all the time and only care about media and basically govern through media, they have no idea. They have no understanding that this global economy and the U.S. economy, heading into a recession now with 0% GDP growth, according to the Atlanta Fed GDP Now estimate, and oil approaching, what did I say? I said it was going to be well over past record highs, 147, and it's going there. We're tanking yet again, gleefully, the world and the U.S. economy simply for short-term gain or for some kind of short-term satisfaction in thinking that we're going after Russia. It's like, no. Here, if you look, food prices. Okay, so this is a great article. Conflict begins. Fertilizer concerns. Russia-Ukraine conflict can add more pressure to West fertilizer market. Fertilizer was already up something like 200% prior to this. Okay, fertilizer had been up 200% in terms of costs. Midwest farmers are struggling with higher fertilizer prices. That's February 10th, 2022. They saw prices jump 80 to 200% depending on the fertilizer. Already as much as 200% year over year. The cost of fertilizing crops is expected to get even more expensive in 2022. I mean, you're going to have a huge I can't even think right now of the economic devastation. I mean, just in terms of food prices. Okay? But then there are all these other industries tied to the cost of food. Then you have the global impact of these retaliatory and these, really it's media driven. Right now it's not national security because you're not stopping them. You're not stopping Russia militarily. You're actually just hurting your own economy. That's why even Biden is against banning oil, 7 or 8% of oil that we get from Russia. There are supply chain and logistical issues pertaining to implementing an immediate ban. Okay, you're going to if you ban anything. They just took over a nuclear power plant. Okay, and you're not stopping anybody. And all you get from media is, well, the advance to Kiev stalls, and then there's a transport, a 40-mile transport, and that's stalled. It's like nothing's going to stop them, unfortunately. And Ukraine, God bless the Ukrainian people. They're doing an amazing job. Okay? But you're talking about a situation where we don't know the economic impact. We already have gas prices through the roof. Now you're going to pay even more feeding your family. And we're not even talking about countries around the world that could face famine, starvation possibly. I mean, this could unravel into a horrible thing. And they haven't even closed the tap on oil and gas to Europe. So, I mean, you keep pushing this giant bear, okay? They're going to retaliate. And this is huge. And then you have Mike Pence saying that, Trump is a Putin apologist. It's like, well, this is unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, be here at 6:15 p.m. My God, this is something that we're not ready for. And you see oil is at like 120. Give me your thoughts below. Be here at about 1 hour, 6:15. Thanks, everybody.